The Perpetual Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 65, fellas.
Let's go.
How we doing?
Surviving.
Surviving.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Aw, he's blushing. How cute.
Did you get your candles?
Thanks, guys.
I mean, did you blow candles out?
I blew out several candles. Yes.
PG-13. What'd you do? Any festivities or?
No. Spent it with loved ones, and that's it.
So you spent it, but you didn't spend it with us. So how did you spend it with loved ones?
Well, Vince was there. You weren't.
Oh, sacre bleu.
Dun dun dun.
Guys, it's a pretty jam-packed episode. So shall we preview it?
Let's
have
preview.
Our usual odd man rush, our rumblings where we're going to talk about Mitch Marner and what his new contract looks like and what it could mean for fantasy owners if he does change team, because let's face it, we got a lot of backlash and quite a bit of support too on some of our takes last week. So we'll expand on that to set the record straight, if you will. Our usual waiver wire pickups of the week, and we're going to skip our league drops and claims. We're going to do it off air to save some time. And lastly, the mid-season fantasy awards. So let's jump right into it with our Odd Man Rush.
Odd Man Rush.
I did want to mention one thing. So I just want to apologize for everybody who listened to last week's episode, as we had quite a bit of technical issues. There was a lot of audio that cut out, cut in. So you missed maybe some things. It wasn't the smoothest experience last week. So we're hoping that this all is rectified now that we figured out what the issue is, and that it's not going to be an issue moving forward.
Correct.
Thank you, Nick.
Vince, just make sure you're loud and clear here as the host of the Odd Man Rush.
Am I not loud? You guys okay?
It's much better.
Okay. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the first statement of the Odd Man Rush. Junior, Dylan Gunter out indefinitely. Who are we looking at to fill up the void?
Honestly, it's it'll be hard to replace 34 points in 40 games, let's be honest. And the one guy on that second line that would have been able to help is Nick Schmaltz, who did make the jump and has 2 goals in his last 2 games. So I'm looking at Nick Schmaltz. They called up Josh Doan, but I'm not quite sure. That second line of Machelli, Hayton, and Josh Doan, we'll have to see what it looks like. For me, it'd be, if you can get your hands on Nick Schmaltz, that would be the guy. But I'm not sure how available he could be in your leagues.
Nick, anything to add?
I like Doan. I think Doan is a player. We'll see. He's still very young.
All right, Nicholas. Pierre-Luc Dubois is on pace for 63 points. Is he back to being fantasy relevant?
Well, he's having a surprising season. I don't think anybody really expected him to be doing this well. 33 points.
The team is having
Yeah. Yeah, well, the team's having a surprising year. You're absolutely right. But 33 points in 43 games played, that's not too shabby for a second line center. Um, I'm loving his game so far. He's on a 63-point pace, so still not what he's always like. He's done better once in his career. But this is a very good start for him. And at 26 years old, you're thinking that he's in his prime right now. I'm assuming that this is kind of who he's going to be between 60 to 70 point player, and pretty good for a second line center.
He actually won our most disappointing underachieving award, the Alexandre Daigle Award last year.
That's right. I love the names that we chose for our
Yeah.
awards.
I can't wait to announce them again later.
We put so much effort and work into that.
You guys are cute. Junior. Cole Caulfield has 38
My man.
points in 40 games played. Will we end up eating crow, or will he fade to a 65-point pace?
Ooh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. For our sake, I hope we don't eat crow. But it could just be one of those years where he's feeling it and ends up being a point per game player. I have a hard time judging this one. I don't think he goes down to 65. Maybe he goes down to like a 70-point pace. I think it's a little difficult to sustain, seeing as he hasn't quite done 82-point pace before. But he's entering his prime, so maybe he's trending to that kind of a player. I still like to see it before believing it, so I'm going to go with he's going to fade a little bit to maybe a 70-point season.
Nicholas?
Nothing to add.
Perfect. Nick, Connor Hellebuck has shut out the Avalanche in 3 consecutive regular season games. When it is all said and done, will he go down as one of the best ever?
It's looking like he's a Hall of Famer, eh? It's very difficult. Not only Hall of very good, like this guy has been elite for years. And right now, he's having his best statistical season ever so far. Does that even make sense? I remember at the beginning, producer Vince had stated that Winnipeg will go as far as Hellebuck takes them.
And I said I don't think Hellebuck could reproduce what he reproduced.
And you said Hellebuck couldn't reproduce it. It looks like 31 years old is the new prime for goaltending. He's at 2.02 goals against average. He's at 928 save percentage. That's the best he's ever done. Like he already has 6 shutouts. Sorry, was there even enough games played for 6 shutouts? Like that's insanity. He's having an unbelievable season. Well worth that $8.5 million contract. And he's saving me right now. He's keeping me competitive in LPHL.
It's scary how good he is this year. Very scary.
Yeah, he's like single-handedly
Won the Vezina.
Yeah, he's already won the Vezina. There's nobody even close. It's been a bit of a voodoo year for goalies again this year. Anyhow.
Junior. Dmitry Voronkov, 17 goals, 13 assists, 34 games played. Are you surprised?
A little bit. I mean, it sounds weird, but it's only his second full season it's only his second season in the league. I feel like he's been there already a couple of years. It's a little bit surprising, but he's on the line with Marchenko and Monahanov. That's what they call him, Voronkov and Marchenko. Anyhow, a little surprising, yeah, but I think this guy's legit. He's 37 points in 75 games last year wasn't much, but maybe there's a culture change happening in Columbus, and it could be the start of something good. Do I think he's a 70-point player? I didn't expect him to be. I was thinking more 60, 65, but who knows? There's not enough of a sample size for me. So, look, this year I think it's one of those years where he's gonna produce more than anybody thought. So that he's pacing for 72 points, I think he can achieve that for sure.
Nick, we want Cutter, followed by F-U Cutter. Oh, there'll be some F-U's in the Marner chants, let me tell you. Were heard loud and clear in Philly during the beatdown they gave the Ducks. What do you make of the rookie season he's having so far?
Well, first of all, I think you should say, what do you think of Philadelphia fans? And in every sport, they never disappoint. They are loud, they are obnoxious, and if you're not one of them, you will hear about it. And Cutter Gauthier, even though he's still wearing orange, moving from Philadelphia to the new Anaheim jerseys, he is indeed not a Philadelphia Flyer, and they let him hear it. Cutter Gauthier is on pace for 38 points. I mean, it's nothing great. We've always kind of said 45 to 50 points for a rookie is a good rookie season. He's pacing under that right now, and he's playing right now on a second line with McTavish and Brett Leeson because Troy Terry got injured. So I'm not. I don't think that this is really a player at this time that you could say is having a good rookie season. I think it was maybe just a little bit too much drama going on. Pacing for 38 points for the year.
True.
I mean, that's not too far from 45, though, that we said is a good rookie year.
Yeah,
So
but
if he's
it's
not
40.
the
It's
first
not.
tier, like
It's not really a small sample size though. It's 43 games played. He's played already.
no, I'm saying you said he's pacing for 38.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we always say the mark to reach for a rookie in his rookie season would be 45 to 50.
For a good.
Yeah, so I'd say like he's still like obtaining points for who we think he is, which is maybe a second tier rookie of the year.
Yeah, yeah. You're saying he's not a top liner, right?
Exactly, like a second liner. I think
Yeah,
he's
maybe
producing like
middle six player.
yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Junior TMZ, here we come.
Oh, we should say that it's still very early in his development, right? Like, we don't know if he's going to become better than that,
Oh
but
yeah, for sure.
we're projecting.
Nick, the bell rang. Stop going back on topic. The bell rang.
Vince louder, please.
The bell rang. Junior, Boston Radio had a report that there was a beef between Pasternak and Marchand, to the point that Pasternak supposedly asked not to have Marchand on his line. You're Mr. TMZ. What's really happening in Boston?
Oh, look, it happened in Vancouver. It's happening in Boston. The difference between the two, though, is that Marchand quickly came out and posted pictures on Instagram of them being together and came out to the media and said, like, we're best friends. So there was I don't know. I always think where there's smoke, there's always a little bit of fire. So I do think something maybe did happen, not to the extent of what happened in Vancouver. But look, for a while there, first of all, they're not on the same line. And for a while there, they had split them on the power play as well. So is this just Boston not knowing how to handle a crappy season? Perhaps. I'm not inclined to believe it that much yet, but I do think something did happen to a lower extent. But yeah, Pasternak is still averaging a point per game, and Marchand is still averaging about 60 points a game, season. We'll see where it goes from here, but I don't think it's as serious as some people think.
Nicholas?
Nothing to add.
Nick, final one. Ricard Raquel is on fire. 7 points in his last 6 games played and pacing for 69 points. Ooh, that 69 comes out again. He was dropped in LPHL prior to the season. Is he an automatic pickup for next year? Is he now draftable again? Or is it a buyer beware?
I think whoever drafts him next year is looking at fool's gold. Ricard Raquel does this from time to time, where he flirts with a 60-point season, and then he drops right back down to his normal 50-point seasons. Just because he's on a hot streak now doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to maintain that. He has a 19.8 shooting percentage. His career average is 11%. So, he should maybe have half the goals that he has right now. So no, I don't think that Ricard Raquel is a player that you go out and add. If you could sell high on him, if somebody's willing to give you anything at all, like a third rounder, just take it, because I see regression coming and it's going to be hitting him hard. Other than that, not much else to add, really. It's that 19.8% shooting percentage pretty much tells you everything you need to know.
And there it is, the Oddman Rush. Oddman Rush.
Oddman Rush.
Nick, quick question. Ricard Raquel is available in Lama. Are you surprised nobody has signed him yet?
No, I mean, people in Lam are pretty knowledgeable. When they see a hot streak, oftentimes they'll disregard it if it's not something that's sustainable. I'm proud to be in that pool. I don't think there's a lot of people that are coasters um, or people that don't do their homework. And if you're doing a waiver signing in Llama, you better be pretty sure what you're doing because that takes up a contract spot. It takes up salary from your bench, and he's not a cheap salary either necessarily. So
To be honest, I thought about it, but it's too hard to make the cap space for me anyway. Because I do think he could sustain this till the end of the year and then just not have a good year next year. If you sign him to that 1 year contract.
yeah, if you're doing like a waiver ad on a hope and a prayer, sure.
Vince, you as a sorry, just one more question. As a bottom feeder, as a tanker, you wouldn't want to possibly sign. Oh, you can't sign and trade, right?
Sure, good.
You could sign and trade,
I can retain salary.
You can retain.
So it makes me
right?
makes
So
me
that's
useless.
that's what makes you not interested.
Well, I'm that,
Alright.
and like Nick said, I think just a hot streak. I don't think Pittsburgh's a very good team, and I don't think he could keep it up.
All right, let's move on to the rumblings. Let's see. I don't know what to put here, so we're gonna put this one.
Call the
Vince is calling the cops, and
call the cops.
he has to put out, or the firemen to put out some fires from TikTok and Instagram comments.
Are you hosting this one, Junior?
No, it's you. It's you. You the
Oh,
man.
it's me. Oh.
With your name in blue.
All right. Well, I'm absolutely not interested in this topic whatsoever, but we spoke about it last week. I think we did really well speaking about it, and we got a lot of comments about it from some Toronto fans who were saying that, maybe producer Vince should watch more Toronto Maple Leafs games, to others basically saying, liking the comment because they agree with Vince most of the time. So, I mean, this is one of the great parts of this podcast, right? For those of you that are new listeners, we do this podcast to have discussions, and we have often different opinions than other people out there, and different opinions amongst each other as well. So it comes to great arguments. And we were in the chat. We have our group chat going on, right? Talking about stuff. And even Junior and Vince got into it regarding this topic. So I kind of want to hear you guys get into it a little bit here. Last week, a clip about Marner generated a lot of buzz. We decided to give it its own segment this week to expand on who Mitch Marner really is, what his contract is going to look like, and why is Junior wrong.
I plead the fifth.
Okay, the discussion that Vince and I had was based on the fact that Vince said if you put Marner on Columbus, the Blue Jackets, he wouldn't be a 100-point player because Marchenko wouldn't score 60 goals like Matthews.
69.
I just flipped the script and said, who's to say Marchenko, because of Marner, won't hit 50 goals or 45 goals or whatnot if he's already doing it with a guy like Monahan at center as his playmaker.
But he's not. How many goals has Marchenko scored?
Marchenko is
His greatest
mean?
goals since he in the NHL. What was the top goals he scored?
But he's on pace for 35 goals this year.
Stop with the on pace. I want to know how many. Marner is on pace for 100 points every year, but yet he never hit 100 points once in his career, right?
Not
Okay,
because
so-
he can't.
Marchenko.
It's not because he
Marchenko is only 3 years in the league.
Exactly.
No, but
he's
that's
still
it. So I
young.
want to know. Marchenko in the 3 years he had. How many goals has he scored every year?
He's averaging 22.
No, he doesn't want to know about average.
I just want to know every year. Like his first season, how much did he score?
He played 51.
23.
59 games in his first season, 21 goals. 78 games in the second season, 23 goals. 43 games so far, 18 goals.
Okay. So now you're saying,
With who as center or as his
Monahan.
playmaker?
okay, Mana. Okay, that's fine. I understandable. But you're saying that Marchenko with Marner there can do what Matthews has been doing with Toronto?
No, no.
Well, so there you go. So
I'm saying, but Matthews was never. Matthews is not a 30 goal scorer.
but there you
Marchenko could go from 30 to 40
okay, so
because of
that's five.
Marner.
So that's 5 assists for Marner's. For Marner, still won't make him hit 100 points. It's 5 extra assists. And what about all these? Marner has 430 primary assists out of his 460 assists in his career. On whose goals? Matthews. I understand people are saying he's a facilitator. That's fine. It's beautiful. You're a facilitator. But at the end of the day, if you pass the puck to a guy who can't score, your facilitating sucks or is useless because the guy can't score. Now, Marner is lucky enough that he's been playing with Matthews, who is, I mean, I don't think it's an argument, but the most prolific goal scorer right now in the NHL. Nylander, who is the second guy on Toronto who can hit 100 points, who hit 99 points last year.
Nah, but didn't hit 100.
No, 100% he didn't 100. But that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is Marner will never be the Batman on any team. Marner will be the Robin on every team. He needs a Batman. If you ask Toronto fans, who do you build your team around, Matthews or Marner? What's your answer?
It's Matthews, but that doesn't mean Marner is not good.
I never said Marner wasn't good. I'm the one who said this year, because it's a contract year, he will get 100 more points. The only thing I said is he's not a 100-point player without Matthews next to him.
So he's how many points without Matthews?
90, a 90-point player. That's what he is. An example: compare apples with apples. Kirill Kaprizov, 27 years old. Marner, 27 years old. Who's played on a better team?
Marner.
Out of those two guys, who's played on a better team with better players?
Marner.
Yet Kaprizov hit 100 points twice in his career.
Kaprizov hit 100 points twice in his career.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Joe, he's on pace.
He did it. Oh, now on pace counts.
No, I'm not saying on pace. He hit 100
He did it
points.
once in his second year.
Okay, so he did it one more time more than Marner, no?
One more time more than Marner.
Okay, and now let's compare Kaprizov, who he plays with, and Marner, who plays with. Kaprizov plays with Zuccarello, Boldy, Ekman Larson, or Ekman Eriksson, who has 3 names, and now Marco Rossi, who's had a breakout. We said a breakout year this year. None of those guys have even hit close to a point per game player. None of those guys. But yet Kaprizov was still a 100-point player. Marner plays with Nylander, who's a 90-point player. Matthews, who's over a 100-point player. But yet he never hit 100. But yet there's people here that are going to say that if Marner
You can't compare Kaprizov and Marner because Kaprizov is a better shooter, so he's going to score more goals. It's not the same player.
But that's why
all I'm saying is that Marner makes people better.
I understand he makes people better.
So he's going to go to another team, and whoever he's playing with is going to naturally score more goals than they did ever before because they play with Marner.
That player, but not Marner will not get more assists because he plays on another team. He's just going to make
who?
because he's already playing with a guy.
And how do you know which team he's going to be on? You're assuming he's going to be on a bottom feeder if he goes and gets 14 million. That's not that
Junior. Okay, so you tell me which team could afford Marner at $14 million?
Vince, if Marner's available, every single team in the league is going to do what they have to do to get him.
100%. But which?
So
team,
then,
but which top team do you think is gonna?
First of all, what if he goes to Minnesota? Those big contracts that they're still paying are going to come off the books. What if he goes to Minnesota and he signs 14 million in Minnesota?
Okay, then Kaprizov becomes a 200-point player. That's what
you're adding 100 points to Marner.
But that's what you're saying. You're saying that if Marner goes to Minnesota, Kaprizov becomes a 200-point player because he makes Kaprizov
No, but
better.
maybe Boldy becomes a 50-goal scorer or a 40-goal scorer.
Yeah, but
it doesn't have to be Kaprizov.
You're assuming because what has Marner... The only guy who hit 50 goals in Toronto is Matthews. And I'm sorry to say, Matthews didn't hit 50 goals because of Marner. Matthews is just that talented that he hit 50 goals.
But Marner is more than a point per game player without Matthews anyway. He doesn't need...
All I've said. Oh, Julian disappeared. Better disappeared.
He ran.
Yeah, he
He
ran.
ran from the
He ran for the
conversation.
hills. All I'm saying is I don't think Marner could ever be a Batman on a team. He's always the Robin, and he needs a Batman. And if he doesn't have that Batman, he's not even close. Like people were saying, he's an automatically 100-point player. To me, he's not a 100-point player. That's all I said. And I even said at the beginning of this year, I said this year he will hit, if anything, more than 100 points because the contract
But
year.
it's funny though, Vince. This year Matthews hasn't even played. I know
100%.
because I drafted him. I drafted him in my pool. He was my first pick,
Hmm.
and my second pick in my pool was Pedersen,
Yeah.
and neither of them have played, and that's why I'm in last place in decent league. Like, he's still putting up points. He's still putting up points, Marner.
Yes, but he's still playing with elite players, Nick. John Tavares came out of nowhere, started to produce points like he was 25 years old.
Maybe it's because of Marner.
There is always the producer, always because of yes. The Toronto Maple Leafs will win the cup because of
Well, they're not in first place. They're not in first place in the Atlantic because of Matthews. That's for sure. Because he hasn't played much.
Yes, he hasn't played much, but yet he still has 31 points in 29 games.
But he's not the reason they're in first.
All right, let's not go off topic.
But at the end of the
So
day, all I'm saying is that Marner will get overpaid by someone because even Toronto fans are saying, "Oh, we have this guy coming off the cap, plus we have the cap going up 4 million." If you sign Marner at 14 million, you're not solving the problem you're having right now, which is you're top heavy. You're going to be
I don't
cap.
know. This year, I find this is the best Toronto has looked in a long time. I think the Berube system has definitely shown itself. It's maybe a more boring system. There's a lot more dump and chase, but they're winning battles. They're
They're
winning
winning close
games.
games, low scoring
They're
games.
low scoring games. This is exactly the type of playoff hockey that you want to see Toronto playing when it comes to playoff time. And I think they're not going to be as easy and out as they were the last few years playing their skill only game.
No, because he instilled a system with the team. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the only thing I was saying, and that people like, I don't know if they got offended or whatever, is that to me, Marner. I don't build my team around Marner. I build my team around Matthews. I build my team around Kaprizovs. I build my team around even Rantanen or McKinnon. Like those are the guys I build my team around because to me, as much of as a facilitator he could be, if he doesn't have an elite winger to finish all those facilitating passes he does, the facilitating means nothing.
Look, it's true that a good playmaker needs a good finisher. I'll say that. That's true for any good playmaker, right? Um,
100%.
but I'll
And
say that a good finisher needs a good playmaker as well. So there's a marriage there that has to be there in order for you guys to be putting up elite numbers like this.
100%,
Uh,
Nick, but I still believe if you're a goal scorer, you're a goal scorer. You can create your own.
and you also mentioned that you wouldn't build your team around a facilitator as much as you would around a goal scorer. To me, you build your team around talent. Talent is hard to find, and if you have talent, regardless position, regardless whatever, you pay that talent in order to keep it because you're not going to find another Marner out on free agency, and you're not going to find another Carey Price when he was a free agent, and Montreal overpaid him, right? You got to pay your stars. So
But,
if they want to continue
but
with this, moving forward with this core, they have no choice. They
no,
have to pay their
but
stars.
I don't disagree with you, but you need to sacrifice something to pay your stars, Nick. So you can't tell me that you're gonna
Yeah,
pay Marner, but then you're gonna also sign Tavares. It's not gonna happen.
yeah. You're probably, but I think most Toronto fans are willing to let Tavares walk
100%.
or sign him for 6 million.
Yeah, but he won't. He won't. Listen, I don't think he'll take 6 million. That's me. But Mar-
If you sign Tavares at 6 mil, even if you have to give him extra years, right? Um, So you sign him at $6 million, and plus the cap going up, let's say supposedly another $4 million. That's all your money that you need for Marner.
Yeah, but they still.
Then you gotta pay Nyes after, and you gotta pay a few other guys. But still, I mean,
The only I'm just saying, like even they were saying some of the comments were saying, oh, he doesn't even play with Nylander. No, but on the power play he plays with Nylander, and 30% of Marner's points come on the power play, so Nylander is there. So he does. You understand? And like, okay, he might not start with Nylander, but I guarantee you, when Toronto needs a goal, the line that's getting shot out there is Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and not anybody else. So
yeah.
he's playing with very good talents around him. But to me, if he goes to another team that doesn't have a Matthews, as much as he can make the other players better, he'll decline because he won't get all those assists that he's getting from the Matthews goals and Nylander goals. So that's all.
All right. Let's move on to waiver wire pickups because Junior cannot rebuttal since he has dropped and having some technical difficulties yet again.
Ran away. Boom.
He got scared and ran away from the conversation. Vince, I think you're up on the. Actually, it's Junior that was supposed to be doing the waiver wire pickups. Let's see if Junior's back here. Junior, can you hear us?
I apologize for that. Looks like we have some of the same issues as last week.
Okay.
But
It's
just
just
you?
me, so it's got to be.
It has to be your computer.
I'm not losing internet connection or anything like that, so very strange. I have to look into it some more. I gotta call, I'll figure it out. Right now, I'm back. If it keeps giving us trouble, I'll just. You guys keep going because you guys are recording with no issues.
We'll talk about maybe using your laptop from now on to do this stuff.
Yeah,
Or just buy a computer.
or by what? It's pretty new. All right, so that I guess you guys finished off the rumblings.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're just starting waiver wire pickups now.
We all agreed with you, Junior. You were right.
There's no right or wrong, so I don't know exactly what you agreed with me with. But all right, let's go to the waiver wire pickups.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
All right. Well, only Vince was money last week. Let's be honest here.
I mean, only Vince has been money all.
Too bad it doesn't.
I'm convinced that
he in his fantasy leagues.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm convinced that he literally goes out there and Googles best waiver wire pickup for this week, and then presses enter, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna regurgitate this information on the podcast so I could look smart."
Did you Google it and see what it gives you now? What name does it give you now, Nick?
No, I don't have time to
tell
Google.
us who your
I
pick
have a
was
life.
soon off Google. All right. So Nick last week went with Ross Colton. 4 games played, 1 goal, 1 assist for a push. And let's be honest, it's a lucky push because the goal he scored was a giveaway behind the net. The defenseman fanned on the puck, getting it out of the zone, and went right to his stick.
They don't ask how; they ask how many.
And it was only 1. So that gives Nick a record of 3 wins, 5 losses, and 1 push. I went with Jonathan Quick, not knowing Shesterkin would be back so soon. In 1 game played, he had 1 overtime loss, a 4.8 goals against average, 872 save percentage. That was a big, fat loss, which could have been different had Keandre Miller not shat the bed with 3 minutes left in the game, a giveaway puck to the Dallas Stars. But anyhow, that brings me under 500 at 3 wins, 4 losses, and 2 pushes. Vince, the money maker, the one keeping our collective record above 500, as Nick likes to point out here. We're a team. Vince's individual record after Evgeny after
his back hurts from carrying us.
After Evgeny Dadonov went 4 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists for the big win. Vince is now 7 wins and 2 losses. So big. Collectively, guys, we're 13, 11, and 3. Not bad.
Beautiful.
All right, moving.
Beautiful. Well, not great, but we're going to get better at this. This is our first year keeping track,
It
right?
is our first year keeping track. You are correct. So this week, I'm first on the board, and I'm going with Andre Palat of the New Jersey Devils. He's only 10% rostered. Hasn't had a crazy year per se, but since being put on a line with Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes, has picked it up quite a bit. So I'm looking to bank on his current hot streak, and they're playing 4 games this week. The Florida Panthers, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Ottawa Senators. Again, I see some high-scoring games there. It should help Palat get over 2 points this week. Vince, you are next
Vince.
on the clock.
Oh yes, I did my Google research. I just Googled who will be the best wire pickup this week, on the week of the January 13th, and it gave me Kirby Doc from the Montreal
Ooh, Vince
Canadiens.
picking a Hab.
38% roster. Yeah, he's been looking a little better in the past few weeks. Habs play 4 games this week, so they're on a little bit on the hot streak. So I said, why not? Let's go with a Kirby Doc pickup and see what happens.
Nick?
Well, I went with Nick Paul. So Nick Paul is on a bit of a hot streak himself lately. 4 points in the last 4 games. You're going to ask me what I like about Nick Paul. I'm just trying to ride the hot streak right now. Nick Paul is playing on the second line with Cirelli and Hagel. And Cirelli's actually been having a pretty decent season this year, a little bit better than expected. So, yeah, Nick Paul is the person I'm going with. He's only 37% rostered, so he meets our criteria.
Awesome. So
They're only
So
playing
to
3
sum
games
it
this
up,
week.
Junior is taking Andre Palat, 10% rostered. Vince is going with Kirby Doc, 38% rostered. And Nick is going with Nick Paul of the Tampa Bay Lightning at 37% rostered. This is what you need to know in terms of scheduling in the NHL this week. The following teams will play 4 games. The Calgary Flames, the Dallas Stars, the Detroit Red Wings, the Oilers, the Panthers, the Habs, the Devils, the Rangers, the Senators, and the Flyers. Only playing 2 games, which you might want to stay away or bench some of these players depending on their caliber. The Bruins, the Sabres, the Hurricanes, and the Wild. That does it for our waiver wire pickups of the week. Hopefully, we're all money next week.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Moving on, fellas. What's next?
Vince is hosting the mid-season award ceremonies.
Oh, very nice. We do. All right, so these are the awards that obviously Nick and Junior came up with. They came up with their little fancy names that they're very proud of. So, and these awards are obviously all about the fantasy.
Vince, you do know that we actually came up with the names together, the 3 of us. You were already on the show when we changed the names.
No, not
No, but
mid-season.
at the year
No,
end, we
the
changed
year
it.
end.
Oh, at year end, yes, but
But it's
not
the same ones.
mid-season.
We're using the same ones.
The same award names.
I do not remember approving some of these names. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right, let's start. So basically, I'm just going to say the award, the player, and then do you guys want to have a discussion on it, or maybe say anybody else who could have bid or was close to, not to keep it too long, but not to keep it too short, but just the right size? Yeah?
Yeah. If we have something to say, we'll say it. Nick and I always have something to say.
Well, that's, With his 3 and 5 waiver wire pickup, Nick should say maybe a little less.
Ooh, ouch.
You want to start counting championships, Mr. Zero?
No. All right. So, the first award for the best fantasy defenseman, we call it the Paul Coffey Award. The big winner of this award, which is not surprising, is Cale Makar. 44 games played, 13 goals, 36 assists. Congratulations, Kale McCarr. You will be getting a letter in the mail.
So honorable mention here is Zach Werenski. Zach Werenski has 43 games played, so one less, 13 goals, 35 assists. So one assist less than Cale Makar, one game played less than Cale Makar. That is phenomenal. Phenomenal from Zach Werenski, who hasn't been up there in a
The
while.
key for his success is staying healthy. And now that he's healthy so far this
Yeah.
year, knock on wood, he's showing what he could do. He got 16 points in his last 9 games. That's so wild.
But
Crazy.
They're also not a dysfunctional team like they were last year.
That's true. But don't say it out loud because then they're going to start targeting you when you play against them.
All right, our second award, the best fantasy forward overall points. They obviously call this the Wayne Gretzky Award. The big winner, no McDavid and no McKinnon, but Leon Draisaitl. 42 games played, 31 goals, 32 assists, 63 points. What a player, ladies and gentlemen. What do you guys say?
Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I was just going to say honorable mention. Nathan McKinnon actually has more points in the sense of real life points between goals and assists. However, Leon Draisaitl has 31 goals to McKinnon's 15, and in all the leagues that we play, goals are valued higher, and that's why we see Draisaitl taking home the award. Nathan McKinnon, though, is having a phenomenal season as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say for like last year, I feel like Draisaitl dropped out of like the top 4 or 5 in some leagues. And I think he's making a case to not forget about him next year going into new drafts.
Interesting. The next one is the Yami Yager Award is for the one player who can play till he's 65 years old. No, I'm kidding. The next award is for the best goal scorer. They named it the Yami Yager Award. Once again, for the double league up, Leon Draisaitl, 31 goals in 42 games played. If I'm not mistaken, he is leading the NHL in goals right now.
He is, and then there's like a 4-way tie with 25 goals under him. So that's a pretty significant difference, right? 6 goals. He's beating the whole NHL, and the people closest to him are 6 goals away from him. That's and those people are Point, Rantanen, Reinhardt, and Mark Scheifele. So you got to give it to Draisaitl. It's just a phenomenal year for him this year so far.
Agreed.
I have a question on this. If Ovi doesn't get hurt, does he get close to Draisaitl's 31 goals? Because he's sitting on 20 goals right now.
I'd say be closer
But he
to
missed.
Braden Point's 25 than I think Draisaitl's 31.
Still
Oh,
impressive
yeah, for
a
sure.
39-year-old.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely
It would have
impressive,
actually
yeah.
gone fucking perfectly with the Yami Yager Award.
Honorable mention to
okay.
Sam Reinhart, Mr. Regression, according to Vince, 25 goals in 43 games.
Still does not
That's
fit.
why he doesn't win championships.
Any chance we get now, Vince, we're
He
just going
won't
to
hit
throw you a
50.
jab.
I
yeah,
still
yeah.
said he won't hit 50. Did he hit 50 goals?
Throwing him under the
He's
bus
pacing
all
that way if he
episode.
stays healthy.
You guys in your pacing. Yeah. I was pacing. Let me not get it.
Finish that thought.
All right,
All right.
next.
Award. Mr. Clutch. Most game-winning goals. We call this the Brett Hall Award. Once again, for the trifecta, it's Mr. Leon Draisaitl, who has 9 game-winning goals. What do you guys have to say?
MVP.
Nothing to add here. I mean, you have the most goals and you have the most game-winning goals. It kind of makes sense.
I'm surprised to see Boldy up there with 8. Second on that list with 8. So, but yeah, Leon Draisaitl, MVP.
The biggest goal-getter basically is the most shots on net, the Paul Korea. The ones who really want to try hard, but don't get that much results. No, I'm kidding. The Paul Korea Award. So for the most shots on net, right now, midway through the season, David Pasternak has 183 shots on goal in 45 games played. What do you boys think about this? Does it reflect to how many goals he scored? How many goals does
19.
Pasternak have? Oh wow,
Yeah, it's
not very
it's a
much
little
percentage.
underwhelming for his standards. Like he's still pacing for a point per game, but yeah, you would think with that amount of shots, you would expect a bit more, a few more goals. But Boston's having an off year, and so is Pasternak, I guess, to a certain extent.
Nicolas.
15. Jack Hughes has 168 shots on goal, which is 15 less than Pasta. Um, and they've both played 45 games. So that's still a pretty significant increase for Pasta. He's kind of running away with it.
All right, our next award is the MVP, most impressive based on their ADP. We call this the Martin St. Louis Award. The winner, surprising winner, is Martin Nekesh. His ADP is 132, tied for 11th in points with 50 points. Who wants to explain the ADP to our audience?
Well, ADP is average draft position. So basically, most people drafted him near the 132nd overall, but he's not the 132nd player points wise. He's the 11th. He should have been drafted top 11. So that's a huge discrepancy between ADP and his actual point outburst. Out
Output?
Output. Yeah, thank you. So absolutely, this is one of those awards where we named it the Martin St. Louis because Martin St. Louis was never drafted, but he still ended up in the Hall of Fame, right? So most impressive based on their ADP.
Yeah, there was a few options, but Martin just takes the cake, practically top 10 in scoring. So I like it. You know, even with his little cold streak there in the last 2 weeks, he's still top 11.
Yeah, impressive year.
All right. So the next award is the Alex Boros Award. Wow, they could basically call it the Vince DiBiase Award for the best waiver wire pickup. And so players who went undrafted or
Gene, if you ain't first, you're last.
That's
Sorry, that
right,
was a little
Nick.
loud.
Players who went undrafted and who barely earned permanent spots on roster. So we call this the Alex Boros Award. So this is a no-brainer. Surprising because I don't think any of us knew this guy's name before the season. So Nick, how about you? You tell us who this winner is.
Well, it's Alexei Protas from the Washington Capitals. He was being drafted ADP wise 1,537th. So not only basically undrafted, you have to have had a 50-person draft in order to even consider this guy as your top 30 player on your team. That's how absolutely insane his draft position was. And he was one of the best waiver wire pickups that I made in Lama in the season, and I basically traded him away. 18 goals, 18 assists in 43 games played. That's 36 points. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 36 points in 43 games. That's very good production from somebody with an ADP of 1537.
Junior, was there anybody else that we were thinking of maybe putting on this award?
He was the obvious one. He was the obvious one.
It was the unanimous choice. Okay, so next award. Oh, shit. All right, the best bang for their buck, which does not include ELC contracts. So anybody who's on the ELC contract, they do not qualify for this award. We call the Alex Tanga Award because he played 1,000 games played. He got 863 points in 17 years, but it got under $40 million, which is wow. So the winner for
Under
this
$40 million for 1,000 games played. Can you imagine?
crazy. Marner is gonna get that for like 82 games played. Next, so the winner is Kirill Marchenko. He has 18 goals, 29 assists in 43 games. Is having a bombshell of a season. So, what do you guys have to say about this breakout season that he's having?
Well, Marchenko's having an absolutely great season. He's listen to this hot streak, okay? 20 points in his last 14 games played. He is pacing on a 90-point pace for a player whose career best was 42 before this. So this is I mean absolute no-brainer when it comes to Kirill Marchenko. I actually went out and acquired him in our Fraps and Rigs Dynasty League simply because I think this is like the coming out party for Marchenko. He is absolutely on fire, 24 years old, just starting to kind of enter his prime in the next couple of years. And if he played with Marner, he'd have 100 points.
Nah, you know what? Maybe he would have maybe had 150 points and won the Rocky
Oh,
Bouchard MVP and
so
everything,
we should mention also he's only making $3.85 million.
and that's why he's
So
best buck for your money.
he's the best bang for your buck this year so far.
No, you're still there.
No, we hear you. Well, they might still, but we'll continue on as if
As if
Junior is
Junior is
not part
still
of this
here.
podcast.
If not, he's just here spiritually. It's okay. Next award, best goalie, Dominic Hasek Award. I mean, this is a no-brainer. We spoke about him before. Connor Hellebuck, 2.0, 2 goals against average, .928 save percentage, most wins for a goalie, 26 wins, 6 shutouts. I mean, I don't think there's much more to say about this award than, than
Nah, you might as well already give him the Vezina, right?
yeah. I don't know, man. I didn't think
He has to like fall off a cliff right now for the second half of the season for
yeah,
him to lose this award.
I didn't even think he could beat what he did last year, and he's like on
Just
fire.
keeps beating his records.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. All right. So the second to last award is the best rookie. So the Timo Solani Award. I think this we went a little bit back and forth, but remember we're taking this based on fantasy points. So have fans don't go all nuts and crazy on us, okay? It's fantasy points because we are a fantasy hockey podcast. So this award we give it to Macklin Celebrini. 33 games played, 13 goals, 16 assists.
Yeah,
Are you recording
I'm
now?
back.
So, Junior, tell us why we didn't pick either Mitchkov or just for to make Habs fans happy, Lane Hudson
So
for this award.
he has 1 point less than Mishkov, but played 10 games less than Mishkov. And we were saying, like being healthy is a skill. So we were contemplating going back and forth and saying, like, if he's hurt, but the reality is he missed maybe 10 games, but is still 1 point away from who we were thinking was our fantasy rookie of the year. Look, we also contemplated Lane Hudson because he's a defenseman, and defensemen who put up points are a little more rare or scarce than forwards are. So his points are valuable in a different way. But he didn't have quite enough goals, I think, to really put him over the edge, even though Nick would probably disagree and he'll have his say here. But at the end of the day, I think it was unanimous once we realized that Macklin Celebrini was the pick here, hands down.
Yeah, I mean, if we were going value above replacement, Lane Hudson's value is higher than Celebrini's is as a center, right? When it comes to fantasy hockey, because as we know, there's maybe about 15 defensemen in all of fantasy hockey that put up points, where there's a lot more centers. But this is not an award based on value above replacement, and Celebrini is somebody that's putting up more points at this time with less games played. So that's what it comes down to.
All right, ladies. The final award we call it the most disappointing underachieving. We could have called it the Knicks waiver wire pickups, but we'll Okay, well, they called it the Alexandre Daigle Fantasy Bust Award. And I'm so devastated that this guy's name is here, but Steven Stamkos, $8 million, 12 goals, 13 assists, 42 games played, and he's the winner of this awful award. What do you guys have to say?
I mean, it's pretty much said right there. The guy has 25 points in 42 games. That's averaging a 50-point season, and you're getting paid $8 million for 50 points. That's not Steven Stamkos numbers. Maybe if he had Marner on his line, but
Maybe, you know what? Maybe Nashville, they have some money. They can
You know what?
move things around and pick up Marner.
it's a little bit weird, right?
Nashville's a weird team,
Nashville.
man. Like they seem to be picking it up, especially Marchessault as of late. But Stamkos just can't get on those streaks where he just scores. And I think that's the most disappointing is the 12 goals because, you tell me he has 20 goals and 13 assists, maybe he doesn't win this award. Or like 20 goals, 10 assists. Maybe even if he's pacing for less points, but he has those goals, maybe we look at it differently. So, and his shooting percentage isn't really that bad either. He's just not shooting a lot, which is very unusual for Steven Stamkos. So, underwhelming all the way through, man. All the way through.
Trying to find his spot, right? I mean, it's such a weird construction of a team. You have your shooters, and then you have another shooter with that shooter, and then you have another shooter with that shooter. And who sets these people up, right? There's unfortunately, I
Mitch
joked
Marner.
about
Let's go get Mitch
we
Marner.
joked about Mitch Marner, right? But the fact is, you need a setup guy at some point. You need a facilitator at some point, and it just seems that they don't have a facilitator on that team right now. So
This team went through a lot of big changes, and it doesn't seem like the blend is going very well this year.
not yet,
Not yet.
not yet.
Listen, and I don't think it'll be. I think Nashville might be a team to watch for next year because I think everybody will have that year under their belt. Because even UC Saros is not doing crazy things for the contract we just signed, right? So we'll see. Oh, Junior, we talk about Junior's player and he just walks out.
So just to that's the end of the award show ceremony. So thank you all for listening to that. We're starting to play the music now to end the award show, and hopefully Junior, if he's recording, will start playing the outro music soon. I just wanted to mention that Cutter Gauthier, after being insulted while in Philadelphia, has 2 goals tonight, including the OT winner. So I think he took it to heart.
Listen, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been supporting some new merch here where we launched an alternate logo and we slapped it on a cap. Keep an eye out. If you're interested, let us know, and we'll keep you posted as to how you can buy some of this merch. Look, we're just trying to raise a little money to help us pay for some updated equipment, maybe, and and tools for social media, so it could save us time and we could be a little bit more active. But
I keep the conversation going on
yes,
social media.
even if you
ladies and gentlemen.
disagree.
Good, bad, or not, just
That's
keep
right.
on going. Everybody has a right to their own opinion, even if your opinion is
Yeah,
always
even
wrong.
you Leafs fans, keep going.
Have a good night,
week,
Leafs.
everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody.